Breaking news tonight, growing wildfire emergency. New areas ordered to evacuate as flames rip through the south. People urged to get out now. The fast-moving flames raging across Georgia. Dozens of homes engulfed, drivers trying to navigate through an inferno. Cars completely burned out, firefighters racing against the clock. The historic drought fueling the flames. Our reporter in the fire zone and Al Roker tracking it all. Deadly mall shooting, gunfire erupting at a food court, leaving at least one dead and several others injured. Officers, guns in hand, going store to store, looking for the suspects. Was it targeted? Also breaking tonight, the Special Forces soldier arrested for betting on Nicolas Maduro's capture and pocketing $400,000. Tonight, we're learning he was actually part of that classified mission. Also breaking tonight, President Trump announcing a ceasefire extension between Israel and Lebanon, plus his new warning to Iran, ordering the Navy to shoot and kill any boat mining in the Strait of Hormuz after Iran seized commercial ships. A former police officer accused of planning a mass shooting, likely targeting New Orleans' famous Jazz Fest. A gun and 200 rounds of ammo confiscated. How investigators tracked him down just in time. The alarming new job cuts, tens of thousands affected. The tech giants slashing staff amid a shift towards AI. Saved from the flames, dramatic video as first responders rescue a man in a wheelchair as fire consumed his home. Nightly News starts right now.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas.
And good evening. We begin tonight with the dangerous situation unfolding across the southeast as at least 8 wildfires are tearing through Georgia and Florida right now, and as even more people in new areas are being told to get out. 87 homes now destroyed as one of the worst fires of them all explodes in size. The scene is desperate. Look at this. Drivers trying to outrun fast-moving fires, lighting the sky up red. Already more than 30,000 acres have been torched, sending massive plumes of toxic air into the sky and hundreds of people from the place they call home. What's left behind? You see it here. Gutted houses, charred cars, even a burned-down chapel. 100% of the Deep South is in a drought, the worst in decades, and when you zoom out, you see an entire country that urgently needs rain right now. At the same time, millions more are bracing for spring storms tonight, set to bring hail, brutal winds, and potentially even tornadoes as warnings go up. We'll get to Al Roker in just a moment, but first, our Aaron Gilchrist and his team in the fire zone in Georgia.
Tonight, an around-the-clock battle against several raging infernos.
Oh, my gracious.
In Georgia, plumes of smoke turning the sky dark. Drivers surrounded by flames as they try to navigate the roads. In Brantley County, the wildfire only 15% contained. After decimating thousands of acres, with winds shifting, more people are now at risk.
We need folks to understand they need to be prepared to evacuate. This is a dynamic fire that's changing.
We couldn't do nothing. It was too late, man.
This home among the dozens engulfed by the fire's wrath. In this area where the fire is already passed, you can see things like this, a mobile home completely burned out, and all around it, nothing but scorched earth. Wildfires are sprouting up across the region, turning communities into wastelands.
All these woods were on fire. They're probably about 10, 12, 13 feet up.
Corey Kempf evacuated with his 14-year-old daughter.
And there were big embers coming down. It looked like we were in another world. Everything was just on fire, and the wind was swirling, and it was insane.
He returned to find his property damaged, but his home still standing. How lucky do you feel?
I feel pretty lucky. Like I said, it was like a movie. I mean, my heart was racing.
Meanwhile, drought conditions are fueling wildfires across the country. From Florida to North Carolina and Colorado, with this year's fire season only beginning to ramp up.
Aaron Gilchrist joins us now live, and Aaron, officials just announced new evacuation orders.
Yeah, Tom, we just watched a bunch of fire trucks bolt out of this area. We know that the wind shifted this afternoon, expanding this fire, pushing it in a new direction. There's a new community of 50 to 60 homes now under that new evacuation order. Federal air tankers, 3 of them, have been called into this area to drop water on those communities, trying to protect those homes and prevent this fire from spreading more, Tom.
All of this as these fires are growing. Aaron, thank you. A big part of the problem down there, shifting winds and drought making the Brantley fire explode tonight. I want to bring in Al Roker on that and the new storm that's also on the way in the Midwest.
That's right. It's going to be a long-lived situation, Tom, and we're looking right now. The Southeast, 100% of the Southeast is drought. 93% of Florida is in severe drought, and so that's going to be a big problem. Now, we've also got tornado watches, tornado warnings stretching from Kansas all the way down into Oklahoma City and Oklahoma onto this evening. 15 million people at risk. Overnight tornadoes, a big problem. We move into tomorrow. More, 6 million people from Little Rock to Shreveport. Go on into Saturday. Another extreme risk, enhanced risk from Wichita to Atoka. On Sunday, again, 12 million people under severe weather from Wichita down into Oklahoma City. And Monday, we may be looking at a tornado outbreak, Tom. 39 million people affected. These tornadoes could be EF2s or greater.
Going to be a dangerous few days ahead. All right, Al, we thank you for that. Now to Louisiana, where multiple suspects have been arrested after authorities say one person was killed and 5 others injured in a shootout at a mall. Police say more people may be involved. NBC's Priscilla Thompson is following this.
Got an active shooter in his... Oh my God.
Tonight, police rushing into the Mall of Louisiana, guns drawn. Baton Rouge authorities say one person was killed and 5 others injured during a shootout at the food court. Officials say at least 3 high school seniors are among the victims.
It's a constant... Yeah, it was loud. And then
5 suspected gunmen are in custody.
This is still an ongoing investigation, and we're still looking for more people that may be involved.
Video appears to show victims on the floor as others try to help, and first responders taking the injured out on stretchers. Investigators say bystanders are likely among the victims and that the shooting was targeted. It appears to have been started by 2 groups having a dispute. One victim now in surgery and others recovering as police ask the public for help.
Any videos that you have, cell phone videos, Crime Stoppers tips, please keep them coming in. Keep these families in your prayers, especially the deceased victim.
Priscilla Thompson, NBC News.
This also just in, a Special Forces soldier has been arrested after allegedly making more than $400,000 betting on Polymarket over whether Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro would be removed from office. NBC News correspondent Brian Chung is here. Brian, this is pretty incredible because he's being accused of making money off that, but also being part of this classified mission.
Yeah, Tom, it's remarkable. This soldier, Gannon Ken Van Dyke, is alleged to have participated in the planning and execution of that operation that captured Maduro. The Justice Department tonight charging him with using classified information to place about $33,000 in wagers, including bets on whether or not Maduro would be removed from office, making him more than $400,000. He's also charged with wire fraud and theft of non-public government information that would appear to line up with trades made on the prediction market Polymarket in the 7 days leading up to the operation on January 3rd. Polymarket said it referred the matter to the DOJ and cooperated with their investigation, adding that insider trading has no place on Polymarket. The Army did not immediately respond to our request for comment, all underscoring concern over insider trading on these prediction market platforms, now growing in popularity, Tom.
Brian Chung with that stunning arrest tonight. All right, Brian, thank you. Now to President Trump's new warning to Iran about placing mines in the Strait of Hormuz, and late word from the White House tonight that the ceasefire in Lebanon will be extended. Here's Monica Alba.
Tonight, President Trump issuing a new warning to Iran, posting orders to the Navy to, quote, shoot and kill any boat mining the Strait of Hormuz. It comes after the Iranian regime began attacking and seizing commercial ships in the strait, posting this video claiming to show its commandos boarding them, hours after President Trump extended the ceasefire with Iran.
Their military is totally defeated. They're outside of the little wise guy ships. I call them the wise guy ships.
And as the president is choking Iran's economy with his naval blockade to pressure the regime to make a deal. Overnight, U.S. troops boarding a sanctioned ship carrying Iranian oil in the Indian Ocean.
If they don't want to make a deal, then I'll finish it up militarily.
Does that mean Americans should anticipate spending more on gasoline for the foreseeable future?
For a little while. And you know what they get for that? You know what they get for that? Iran without a nuclear weapon that's going to try and blow up one of our cities or blow up the entire Middle East.
The New York Times reporting new details tonight about the health of Iran's new Ayatollah, badly injured in the same strike that killed his father, and neither seen nor heard in public since. 4 senior Iranian officials claim he was gravely wounded but is mentally sharp and engaged after 3 leg surgeries. His face and lips burned severely, making it difficult to speak, and that access to him is extremely difficult, so generals are the key decision makers in Iran.
They have all new leadership and they're fighting like cats and dogs for who's going to control, because we've created a real mess for them.
Late today, the president meeting with ambassadors from Israel and Lebanon as he looks to cement the ceasefire his administration brokered. Inside Lebanon, the IDF had targeted the Iranian-backed Hezbollah after that militia had attacked Israel. NBC's Yasmin Vasugian spoke to this man who says his wife and daughter were killed in an IDF strike. It felt like an earthquake, he said. Tonight, the Lebanon ceasefire extended for another 3 weeks.
Monica Alba joins us tonight from the White House. Monica, there were a lot of headlines about a question the president was asked today whether he would ever use a nuclear weapon against Iran. What did he say?
Yeah, Tom, the president dismissed the idea, saying he wouldn't need it given what the U.S. military has been able to accomplish conventionally, but adding a nuclear weapon should never be allowed to be used by anybody. Tom?
Monica Alba at the White House for us. Monica, thank you. Staying there, a major shift in marijuana policy tonight. The federal government updating rules set more than a half-century ago and easing restrictions around medical marijuana. Ann Thompson explains what these changes mean for the millions of Americans already using it.
A historic day for the business of medical marijuana, used for chronic pain, sleep, and side effects from cancer treatment. The federal government reclassifying it as a less dangerous drug, already legal in 40 states and the District of Columbia. No longer in the same class as heroin and LSD, medical marijuana is now a Schedule III substance like ketamine and testosterone, with a low to moderate risk for dependence. But this has no impact on recreational marijuana.
You still can't possess it federally. That is still illegal. You still can't consume it federally. That is still illegal.
Kim Rivers, CEO of True Leaves, sells medical marijuana in 8 states. This decision, she says, will lower her business's tax rate, but won't improve access to the banking system.
Congress would need to pass a law that gives banks the green light to handle funds that come from state-licensed marijuana businesses.
But there's opposition on Capitol Hill. 22 Republican senators signed a letter to President Trump in December objecting to the change. Arkansas's Tom Cotton was one of them, today posting that marijuana is more potent than 10 to 20 years ago, and this is a step in the wrong direction. It will help researchers. Ziva Cooper heads the UCLA Center for Cannabis.
This will help ease restrictions so that we can do the research to be able to understand the safety and the effectiveness of these types of products.
Ann Thompson joins us now in the studio. Ann, let's pick it up there. You were just telling me it may not end here. The Trump administration may do more.
They are. In fact, they're going to do it this summer, Tom. The Justice Department will begin hearings in June to move marijuana broadly, not just medical, to the less dangerous classification under federal law. But as far as legalization goes, well, that would take an act of Congress. Tom?
Okay, Ann, we thank you for that. When we return in 60 seconds, a decorated former police officer arrested tonight, accused of planning a mass shooting, was one of the most popular music festivals in the world, the Target. That's next. We're back now with a major headline from New Orleans. Police saying they likely stopped a potential terror attack targeting the popular jazz fest there. Here's George Solis.
Tonight, a potential terror attack foiled. Authorities in Florida taking former law enforcement officer Christopher Gillum into custody for making terrorist threats. According to the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, Gillum was arrested after learning he planned to travel to New Orleans to carry out a mass shooting at a festival. Deputies tracking Gillum to a hotel near the Florida Panhandle, where they say they found a gun and around 200 rounds of ammo. According to the Associated Press, Gillum's family had told North Carolina law enforcement he had a gun and expressed recent threats to harm black people.
We're going to continue to ramp up our security to protect those people who come in and out of the city of New Orleans.
Though not directly named as the target, the popular New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival that starts today and draws hundreds of thousands annually, putting out a statement that says in part, Jazz Fest is grateful to all law enforcement partners for their dedication and exceptional service. New Orleans has increased their security after the ISIS-inspired terror attack on Bourbon Street last year, where an Army veteran drove into a crowd, killing 14 people. Gillum was a law enforcement officer in North Carolina for more than a decade, even awarded Officer of the Month in 2025. Tonight, the governor praising his arrest.
This was a great outcome to what could have been a tragic event.
And Gillum appeared before a judge today in Florida. He is still awaiting extradition to Louisiana. Tom?
George Solis, we are back in a moment with an incredible rescue caught on camera. Firefighters lifting a man in a wheelchair out of his burning home after he was trapped inside. More of that video next. Back now with a dramatic rescue caught on camera. Firefighters rushing to the scene in Exeter Township, Pennsylvania, where a man in a wheelchair was trapped in the middle of this burning home. The fire department says neighbors helped to break the window so the man could get out. One firefighter went inside and helped him get to the window, where others helped get him out. Fire officials say the man who was rescued is doing okay. Two big names in tech today with major job cuts as they were ramping up their investments in AI. Meta confirming to NBC News it will lay off around 10% of the company next month and close 6,000 open roles. And Microsoft, according to multiple reports, for the first time ever, will offer voluntary buyouts to as much as 7% of its U.S. employees. And Spotify turned 20 years old today. To celebrate, the company released its most streamed artists, songs, albums, and podcasts of all time. The top artists, you guessed it, Taylor Swift and Bad Bunny, Drake, The Weeknd, and Ariana Grande rounding out the top 5. The most streamed song was Blinding Lights by The Weeknd, and for top album, Un Verano Sin Ti by Bad Bunny. All right, now to our conversation with American leaders trying to unite people and find solutions to the nation's challenges. Part of our NBC News Common Ground initiative in partnership with our corporate parent Comcast. Here's Kristen Welker.
Tonight, leading American voices on the effort to find common ground in a divided America. From the halls of Congress.
John has more courage, and the strength that he showed in that moment is something that I hope everyone in America looks to and learns from.
Republican Senator Katie Britt telling me how she went to visit Democratic Senator John Fetterman when he was hospitalized for clinical depression in early 2023.
Senator Fetterman, what did it mean to you that Senator Britt came to visit you?
Oh, I mean, of course, it made the world.
Lift off. To the farthest reaches of space and those historic missions. Astronaut Sonny Williams with NBC's Lester Holt.
What was it like to see something that you certainly were part of the building blocks for that moment?
Yeah, it was incredible. You just think in the back of your mind, all of those people, all of this made this amazing thing happen.
To the power of sports to unite us.
You saw people in a Harris t-shirt right next to people in a Trump t-shirt, and it didn't matter because they were there to celebrate something that was bigger than all of us.
That lasting search for common ground. Kristen Welker, NBC News, Washington.
That's Nightly News for this Thursday. I'm Tom Yamas. Thanks so much for watching. Tonight and always, we're here for you. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.